Didn't Phineas say something about a war beast?
The war beast lay dead, its fall testament to the might of the 10th Legion. But it seemed a Pyrrhic victory, as the Azunite army pushed into the deep well. Hundreds of soldiers poured from the tunnels, easily outnumbering the Royalist forces. You and your allies fled before them, but this was not the defeat it might have seemed. Without the stone stream to refresh it, the air in the deep well was a seething cauldron of explosive gas, awaiting the merest spark. That spark the Royalists were all too happy to provide. The explosion collapsed the well, entombing the Azunites beneath the mountain, and shattering Jane Cassinder's hopes of destroying the Queen. Would that Cassinder herself had been buried there, along with her men. But such an end was not her fate.
Jane's army is fleeing down the mountain. The woman lives, but we're safe from her. For now.
The victory is yours. We owe the Legion our lives.
I'm told that Jane spoke to you. She mentioned the old king, no doubt. And the Legion's role in his murder.
I need to know what really happened. All the facts, no matter how shameful.
We ought to begin more conversations this way.
Jane Cassinder spoke the truth, as far as she understands it. The commanders of the Legion did conspire to unseat the old king. The goal was never to murder the old king, only to replace him with his eldest son. But the king resisted, and the matter went awry.
You must understand. My grandfather was a monster. Even his own children despised him.
You say the king was a monster. What had he done?
I do not pretend to understand the man, but by all accounts, he was prone to paranoia, irrational rages. He grew jealous of the Legion. Before long, he started seizing our chapter houses and estates, threatening to disband the Legion altogether. So Mont Baron struck first.
We have a friend, an old Legion scout called Odo. Would he have known about the plot?
No. Mont Baron told the rank and file nothing, so that they wouldn't share in his guilt. Little good it did them. They all died, innocent or not.
You were one of the Legion commanders. Weren't you part of the plot?
When the plan was put forward by Mont Baron, I spoke against it. We had all made a vow to defend the crown, and it seemed to me that our word should be kept. But all the others disagreed. So I abandoned the Legion, left the hall, out the door, and never went back. The king was in the wrong, yes. But was treason our only recourse? I thought not.
If they didn't mean to harm the king, then why was he slain?
I wasn't there when it happened, but I'm told that the king drew a sword. The man wasn't much of a fighter, more a danger to himself than the Legionnaires. Who knows how he ended up with a blade in his gut? All the parties are long dead, and we shall never learn the truth.
Jane told me something else. She said that she was the king's illegitimate daughter.
Ah, the old rumors. I can't say for sure, but I am inclined to believe them.
Jane Cassinder shares my blood? What else have you not told me, Lord Devonsey? The woman lost her father. Her family betrayed her. That doesn't excuse what she's done, but at least now I understand. I would ask one more favor of the Legion. Should you meet her again, will you spare Jane Cassinder's life?
If she's willing to surrender, I'll let Jane live.
Lord Devonsey will surely chastise me for my gentle nature, but I am sure this is the right course. Whatever happens, the Legion has my trust and support.
I shall send riders to all the towns and villages that support the Queen with news of our alliance. You have the word of the Royal Court. All Western Ebb will stand united behind the Legion.
You've done it! That's twice that we've survived thanks to your efforts. You will always be welcome here. I hope that I may find a way to repay you someday.
I found the Painite you were looking for.
The Painite! You have it! Wonderful! You have ensured the future of geomancy. And perhaps the royal line as well. Please, take these items. They're prized possessions from the Royal Armory. A fair reward for your contributions.
We've come a long way from that filthy swamp, haven't we? You've given us a victory that will be remembered for years to come. Escorting you to the causeway is the least that we can do. Are you ready to go?
Yes, let's head to the causeway.
We've had rumors of another battle. Is it true? Jane Cassinda's army retreating in disarray?
Disarray is too kind a word. I might say panic, or terror instead.
And Rosalind, what did you think of her? Worthy to wear the crown or no?
She has a kind and temperate nature, but I saw some iron underneath. I think she'll make a good queen.
Kind and temperate is a far cry from her grandfather. Perhaps this exile has been a blessing for her family after all. What about our proposal? Does she favor the Legion?
Rosalind agreed to an alliance. She and Devonsey gave their word.
Well done. But that's not all, is it? The news can't all be good.
Hugh Montbarron tried to overthrow the old king. The murder was an accident, but Devonsey said...
No more. I don't want to hear. You think I hadn't guessed it was something like that? I still called it a lie. We can't tell this story, not ever.
The people already heard this from Jane. It's too late to hide the truth.
If we win this war, Jane will be dead. Her words become lies, and ours become truth.
You're wrong, Odo. The story needs to be told, or the lesson will never be learned.
And what then? The people won't blame Montbarron. They'll paint the whole Legion with the same bloody brush. Kingslayers forevermore. We'll be feared. No matter how virtuous we seem, we'll always be a threat.
Better that the people hear the truth from our lips. I won't lie to them.
Indeed. I don't think deception was ever part of the Legion Code.
I was half afraid that Martin might say something like this, but you too?
The Legion will be better for this, not worse. The Crown as well. If we all know the story and remember it, we won't repeat the same mistakes. We've made our choice. Let's speak of something else. What else did you learn in Glitterdelf?
Jane Cassinda is the daughter of the old king. She told me herself. You never knew?
I always thought that was just a rumor. This changes things.
If Jane Cassinda is the old king's daughter, then she has a claim to the throne. Probably thinks it's her right.
Better to strike now while she's off balance. Still reeling from her loss at Glitterdelf.
Or maybe Jane will listen to reason, now that she's tasted defeat.
You bloodied her nose and you stung her pride, that's true. But the army you destroyed was only a small part of her strength. If we try to talk, we'll only give her time to rebuild. We need an ally who can distract her forces while we go after Jane herself.
We've already sealed an alliance with the Meisters. Perhaps they'll lend us their automaton army.
Jane could be anywhere. Do you know where she's gone?
Jane's capital is 5 days' march from here, maybe more. She calls it the Spire. Half cathedral, half fortress, on the summit of a mountain. That's where she'll be. The most impregnable stronghold in Ebb.
I'll speak to the council. I think the Meisters will agree.
Hard to predict what the Council will do, but you're probably right. We'll wait for your word.
Please comply with all local laws and customs. Please comply with all local laws and customs.
Ah, the envoy from the 10th Legion. Always a pleasure to receive our good friend.
We plan to attack Jane Cassinder, but we can't defeat her alone. The Legion needs your automaton army.
And leave our city undefended? That, seems rather rash, does it not?
Irrelevant. We made a contract with the Legion, Meister Grimmelhaus. The Council is not above the law.
I suppose...
Capital! I can have the automatons ready in short order! Shall I make ready to leave? I should warn you, we may not return to Stonebridge again before this war is over!
How many automatons are left? I destroyed a lot of them.
The Gent only managed to take control of about half of our automatons, and not all of those were destroyed, so the army is intact. Jane's forces may outnumber us, but her soldiers have never faced automatons before. I dare say that will work in our favor.
I don't see any reason to wait. We'll leave for the Spire as soon as you're able.
The Spire stands atop Mount Jereb. That's a week's march from here, on foot. Our automatons will assault the town of Aegis Bay at the foot of the mountain. They'll engage Jane's forces and provide a distraction, you see. That will give you a chance to climb the trails to the top of the mountain and assault the Spire itself. It will be an honor to fight alongside the Legion, and may fortune smile upon our endeavor.
At long last, the tide turned. No longer was the 10th Legion fighting a defensive war. With the automaton army of Stonebridge behind us, we took the battle to our enemy. Under the command of Martin Guiscard and Meister Wolf, our army poured forth from Stonebridge in a flood of iron and flame. The journey was a long one and difficult. Had you marched with soldiers of flesh and blood, I do not doubt that many would have died, but the automatons were tireless. At last you reached your goal, the Spire. Crowning the sacred mountain of Jereb, it was the heart of Jane Cassinder's strength. No army had ever conquered it. Azunite zealots and Stonebridge automatons clashed at the mountain's foot. Blind faith and cold reason struggled for dominance as the ground churned with oil and blood. Above the clamor of the battle, you ascended a forgotten path up the mountain, seeking the spire itself.
The walls are close here. If it comes to a fight, we won't have room to move.
Wait. No weapons. We've come to talk, not to fight.
Quickly, Rajani. We shouldn't be here. Jane doesn't know you're here, does she?
We only speak for ourselves, not for Our Lady.
Jane is first among our sisters, like her mother before her. We don't want to betray her, but...
Jane has lost her way. She talks of visions and dreams. A great tree, carrion birds. She claims to hear the voices of our lost gods in her mind, and that proves she is mad.
Maybe she is hearing the voices of your gods. Our gods are dead, tumbled from the heavens and gone. We sought them long, across 1,000 divine realms, and never found a trace.
Not true, sister. Jane's mother claimed to have discovered a remnant, a forgotten seed of the first creation, the handiwork of our gods. But none of us ever saw.
What gods do you mean?
The creator gods, who we served long ago, or so we have always believed. We have no memories of them, only stories that we tell, and faith that they are true.
Jane commands the Azunite Church, but she worships these creator gods in secret?
She claims to be faithful to Azunai, so that her followers won't abandon her. And she doesn't deny that he is real. But her true faith, her secret faith, has always been to our gods, to the gods of her mother.
So what do you propose?
You spared my life in Raven's Rill, and when you spoke to Jane in Glitterdelve, you weren't the monster that she said you'd be. I don't want to see my sisters destroyed in Jane's pointless war. Too few of us are left. We ask for your mercy, for our sisters and for Jane herself. In return, we'll grant you whatever aid we can.
I want to know more about you before I decide.
Quickly then, before someone sees us.
If you've lost confidence in Jane, why follow her at all? Choose a new leader.
Leadership is no matter of choice, not for us. We are bound to Jane, just as we were bound to her mother.
The first sister burns brightest of all. Her fire sustains us. Snuff her out, and we would all begin to fade. Jane's mother was first sister. What happened to her?
She died. At the moment Jane was born, her fire was passed to her daughter, and her body became an empty shell. The faces of mother and daughter may be different, but the divine spark, the fire that sustains them, that is the same.
Can you tell me who you are? Where you came from?
The people of Ebb call us Archons, but we have no such name for ourselves. We're just sisters, as we've always been. Our only history comes from myths and legends. They say that we served the creator gods before they tumbled to Earth. We have no memory of that time. Our first awareness came with a sense of terrible loss, but we cannot remember what came before.
A strange way to begin your lives. What did you do?
We wandered the divine realms for... To tell the truth, I have no way to know. Always searching for some trace of our fallen gods. We had no purpose. Many of our sisters were lost in those years. They wandered off, confused, or their fires guttered out. Jane's mother led us here. She claimed to have found some remnant of the first creation, but she only saw it twice. And we never saw it at all.
You'd help me defeat your own sisters? How?
We can withdraw from the battle for a start. Of all Jane's handmaids, we are ranked first, and she relies upon us to guide the others.
And we can tell you what lies ahead. The spire is a death trap for the unwary, and finding Jane is not so simple as passing through a door or climbing a stair. All right, I've made up my mind.
Jane is deluded and confused, yes, but please, don't judge all our sisters by her example alone.
I promised the Queen that I'd spare Jane's life. I'll try to spare your sisters, too. So Jane was wrong about you after all. When Rajani told me, I didn't believe.
Beyond this gate is the Bailey Garden filled with soldiers. They're fanatics, loyal only to Jane. They think her a saint, and you'll never sway them. At the far side of the garden is a door, protected by a magical seal. 2 of our sisters fashioned that seal from their own living fire. Now their lives are tied to the seal. To pass the door, you would need their consent, and that they'll never give. So you'll have to find them and kill them.
I thought you wanted me to spare your sisters' lives. Those 2, the ones who watch the gate, they're different. No one speaks of them. Not anymore.
The spell they wove has driven them mad. They don't even answer to their old names. We only know them as the Archon of Vengeance and the Archon of War.
And on the other side of the door?
The Chancel, a place of worship for the Zealots who call Jane their living saint. And above that, the Sanctum of Fire, where our sisters dwell.
And by Zealots you mean her soldiers and priests?
In the beginning, they were useful tools, nothing more. An army to protect her from the royal family. She didn't believe she was really a saint. But now, as I said, she's lost her way.
Will I find the 2 Archons in the Bailey Garden, or somewhere else?
They can't venture far from the seal. Each of them lives in a tower, on either side of the garden. We never go inside those towers. We never even go near them, so we can't say what you'll find.
Enough about the spire. I should be able to find my way.
As you wish. Can we tell you anything more?
Are there any hidden places? Secrets that Jane wouldn't want me to find?
The dungeon, underneath the Bailey Garden that lies just ahead. Jane keeps her most valuable prisoners there. Look for the stone centerpiece in the middle of the garden. The door to the dungeon is hidden in its base. But you can only open the door by stepping on a golden pressure plate, hidden in the corner of the garden.
You haven't told me where I'll find Jane. No need. She'll find you.
She's somewhere in the spire, probably watching using our eyes as her own. She'll know that we've betrayed her.
You should leave this place, and stay away from our soldiers. They'll take you for enemies. No, wait. You are an Archon, like us. Don't you recognize your sisters? Why should I recognize you? We've never met before.
But you're wrong. We know you. We were with you when you died.
You saw me die? Where did this happen?
When we first came to this world, you tried to follow Jane's mother into a primordial forest, where a fragment of the first creation was said to lie. The forest consumed you, tore you to pieces before our eyes. We thought it was a sign, choosing Jane's mother over the rest of us. But now our sister has returned to trumpet Jane's fall.
We don't know that yet. We'll wait for now. The meaning will make itself clear.